there, comic book friends. I'm Travis.
And I'm the disembodied voice.
And this is...
Comics Ramble.
That's Comic Book Ramble. Don't read that. That's just my shortened thing.
Well,
Comic
I messed
Book
up
Ramble.
the intro this time.
Because otherwise, if it's comics, then we'd be talking about
I know
who knows
you'd be
what.
talking about Calvin and Hobbes.
No. That's comic book too. Comics
Okay.
would be Chris Rock or whoever.
Okay.
Whoever the kids think is funny these days.
All
Any
right
rate.
there, Grandpa.
Right.
There's something wrong with Chris Rock.
So these are comics from January 29th. No, they're not. They're comics from... I'm going to get this down at some point. These are comics from the 22nd.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll see how this goes. My voice is a little cracky still. I'm recovering from death. So, where this at?
Yes, he died on Saturday. That's
Right.
pretty good. Actually, no, he died on Friday.
Right. Solon Grundy. Anyway, let's talk some comics. Edgar Allan Poe's Snifter of Terror, Season 2, Issue number 4.
I read the first story, the Black Cat story. It was really fun. I did not read the second story because it said Gold Bug Part 2 or Gold Bug 2, and I'm like, was there a 1 that I missed? So I didn't bother reading that. But anyway, first half was fun.
Yeah, it's fine. If there's another season after this, more than likely I'm not going to get it. I mean, this is amusing and all. It's just kind of, it's either picking on Poe and Poe's situation in life, or the retelling of a Poe tale in more...
in a modern way.
Yeah.
And like I said, they're fun. And the fiction in the back is sometimes really fun too.
Right.
Sometimes I like it better than the comic part.
Right, that's one of the cool things about Ahoy Comics. All Ahoy Comics have prose in it, along with the
And sometimes
sequential art.
poetry.
Yeah.
There's a poem in this one.
Yep. So it's okay, nothing terribly special. That's a Hulk montage. All the covers are
that was funny.
Are spin-offs of one thing or another. Next we have Wonder Twins issue number 11. One more issue of Wonder Twins, and then it is done.
I'm sad.
It was only supposed to be 6 issues.
Okay, fine. So I guess
Or
I
8.
should
Maybe
be...
it was 8. I can't remember.
Anyway.
And then they expanded. They expanded all of the Wonder comics, I think.
Well, it's been really enjoyable because I like this writer. I've enjoyed most of their take on cultural icon type things. The Flintstones the most, probably.
Yeah, Russell. Yeah.
And this is kind of the end of... I mean, there might be couple more things to say about this arc, which I guess will be said in the last issue.
Obviously.
But, we finished with the computer trying to take over the world, and that was a nice reflection, as usual, on today's society.
Right.
If people allow you to be your basest self, and that's who you really are, then you're going to go for it and support that thing that allows you to be your basest self. In this case, it's a computer that has a mindset of 1986.
Right.
Yeah. So like I said, I've enjoyed it. It's been really fun. I like the way that the Wonder Twins are written in it. That's all.
It's been okay for me. There have been moments that have been good. Excuse me. But otherwise, it's been okay. It's not been no Flintstones. It's not been no Exit Stage Left. And I don't know. Gosh darn it. Should have brought something to drink. I don't know if it's because this is written for a teen audience. It is written for...
That makes sense.
It is written for not children, but it's supposed to appeal to the kids that are, would be in junior high, high school kind of thing. That's what it's...
Then they probably aren't hitting those issues as hard,
right,
in such a dark way.
Yeah. I am looking forward to, as a side note, Russell's getting back together with Pugh, who did the Flintstones,
right?
And they are doing an Ahoy book is coming out in 3 or 4 months, Billionaire Island. So.
Oh, I think I saw the ad for that.
So I am getting that. I'm looking forward to that, just because getting those guys back together to throw some sort of cynical whatever kind of thing. And some of my favorite of the Sifter of Terror stories have actually been written by Russell.
Oh,
So,
cool.
the whole.
Yeah. It's not the first comic I pull out of the pile, but it's definitely one that I'm not like, oh, that.
Sure. And we have issue number 2 of the Old Guard, Multiple Force. This issue is more. Well, so we had the exciting situation in the first issue to get everybody back into
Right.
danger and all that and stuff. This one kind of describes better the nemesis of the issue. Potentially an old ghost, an extremely old ghost, like
Yes.
thousands of years old.
Yes.
As
Somebody that knows the person,
Andy.
the oldest person
Right.
in the group.
Right, the leader of the group. So there's that, and there's just the kind of they're doing some more potential with the the youngest member of the group who died in either Iraq or Afghanistan.
Yeah. Nile.
And that's current. I mean, that's like
Yep.
within the year of this comic book world. So there'll be some interesting stuff there, I think.
Right. I think her trying to make the adjustment from being just a normal human that can do normal human things to someone who has to take the next few millennia potentially into consideration.
Right.
And that's, and her behavior is predictable by the other members of the team who have seen it repeatedly because
Sure.
they've done it or they've been there. So,
Right.
They don't make emotional attachments with people as much as she kind of is with a mortal, so to speak.
Right.
I mean, they're all mortal. They just don't know when.
Yeah, right. So it's good. I mean, I'm enjoying it. It's interesting. I mean, getting into the second issue, jumping into it a little deeper and whatnot. I'm excited for it to be back. And
I liked the second issue very much more than the first issue. The thought though of drowning over and over again is just
right. They're
awful.
torturing one of the guys to try and get some information
Yeah.
as to where Andy and the rest of the crew are at and whatnot. Yeah.
And she's talking to him about the fact that he hopes he's just going to drown and be dead, but she's saying that that's not enough to do it.
Right.
That's not going to get him to the final death that they all kind of long for and worry about at the same time.
Right, because these immortals aren't like the immortals from, Highlander, where you
Yeah,
have to lose
you
your
don't have
head.
to separate them from their head.
They just one of the times that they have one of their deaths, they just don't come back from it.
Right. But yeah, just the thought of that is horrible to me.
Right. I get used to it after a while. Right.
No, I think it
I
would be
bet you
just
would.
as bad
I
every
bet
time.
you did, like anything else. I'm bored. I've been drowned a dozen times. It's whatever.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I think it would be terrifying because your body reacts the same way every time. I think that would be terrifying.
I think you'd learn how to relax and just suck the
Just
water in as fast as you could.
drown?
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't had 12 children, so I can't tell you whether or not childbirth is another thing that people do over and over again. I can't tell you whether that is less traumatic each time.
Yeah. Okay. So you're comparing childbirth with drowning?
No, I'm just saying that there are certain things that I think people think are going to just be no big deal the second time or the fifth time or whatever.
No, I see.
and
But
it still
with
hurts
childbirth,
just
you
as
forget,
much.
though, right?
That's what they say.
Yeah. Anyway, on to Books of Magic number
Yes.
16 with Timmy and Timmy.
Timmy and Timmy. Timma and Timma.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I still continue to really enjoy this issue. Tim has gotten himself in trouble with a Tim from an evil Tim
Yeah.
from another
Alternate
dimension.
Timmy is not very good.
Right. Thankfully, Tim has figured out how to walk himself away from this one. Realizes this is bad news, but he's in quite a pickle now in the
Right.
process.
Fortunately, also his teacher Rose or Ms. Rose or whatever her name is, and on the front is kind of like supposed to be like the magical detective agency, but
Well, she is a
doesn't-
magic cop.
I know, but she doesn't look like that.
Yeah, I mean, she doesn't carry the badge, but I mean, she's definitely shows up and is all business, and
Yes.
her job is to make sure that the teacher Rose keeps
Right.
Timothy Hunter in line,
But
which
they
is
have-
not
yeah.
happening because he's kind of
Yeah, they
wandering,
figure out
direction
that
hopping,
he
and
is, that he. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you. He has figured out that she has the detective lady, psychic detective lady or whatever you want to call her, has figured out that he is traveling between dimensions and not just into the one, the dreaming that he has permission to go to. I don't think he realizes that that's what he's doing. Um,
Well, yeah, young Tim, I don't think is thinking a
right,
lot of this through.
right. But fortunately, like they know where he is, and so hopefully they'll be able to
Yeah.
help him in his current
But he has
predicament.
moments. He has moments of being smart, of being a smart kid, and that's what
Yeah,
saves him.
thank goodness, because the I should be entitled and why can't I use my magic for such and such
Right.
is never a good way to go. And you know, there isn't a single. Okay, there are probably some books in which there isn't any kind of cost for magic or any kind of consequences, but even in something as simple as the Harry Potter universe, sorry I call it simple, um, there's consequences when you do stupid things. So anyway, yes, I'm hoping that he is helped. But I did think it was interesting that Bird Lady
Patty.
said that they were lying to her when they said they were going to bring him back safely.
Well, because she just probably knows she's got her own prediction of what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Um, right. I mean, the basic premise is that Timothy Hunter is ultimately going to be the most powerful magician, and it's a matter of will he be a good one or a bad one.
Right.
And people are trying to allow him to make his own decisions because clearly trying to force him to be something is
Right.
potentially
That's
going to
a
make
good way.
him
Right.
potentially make him into the evil sorcerer. But at the same time, they all wonder if they just leave him to his own design, what is he going to end up being? And of course, when you're under that level of scrutiny, any small little slight, you're a high school student and you're pissed off at the bully, so you tie his shoelaces with your magic screwdriver. It's the kind of thing that from these people's perspective, they can see that as being a level of a beginning level of malicious to him being an axe murderer kind of a
Right.
thing.
Right.
I mean, because it's not like he's out.
That's really hard.
It's not like he's out, torturing small animals
No.
with his magic. That he's going to be a serial killer when he grows up. But they are kind of treating him that way
Yes.
to some degree. So it is a.
He, did.
Well, yes, I'm not saying he didn't do things. I'm just saying though that he is under that level of scrutiny. So even if he's doing something that would be considered typical kid thing, for him it can't just be that.
Right. Oh, and also his entire class is afraid of him and angry with him.
Well, not his entire class, but three people are
Yeah.
the class bully, and a girl that potentially could have been a girlfriend.
Right.
Kind of
He
thing.
seemed to really like her.
Yeah, but she had a really horrible experience with magic, so she
Oh, yes,
thinks all
she
magic
did.
is horrible. And then her friend. So next up, we're gonna talk, or disembodied voice is mostly gonna talk. One scene feature, number 6, end of the arc. This is actually the end of the arc. I keep saying, I think it's the end of the arc, but this is truly the end of the arc.
And I was sad because I really liked it.
Sad? Why sad? It's the end of an arc. It's not like the book's gone.
I know.
I mean, now it's an ongoing. Originally, it wasn't going to be an ongoing.
Pollyanna me is sorry that there seems to be a rift between the main character and his grandmother, but at the same time, I wouldn't expect anything else in reality because she basically raised him to do this thing and didn't ever tell him about it, and essentially his life has been
It's been a
kind of
lie. Right.
and so yeah, it's going to take some
Maybe not a bad
time.
lie. I mean, the consequences of what's going on now are serious, but
Right, but still it's
he was raised to be a hero, so I don't know how that's a bad thing.
right.
Yeah, when I
But-
say hero, not like necessarily action hero so much as just being the person who does the good nightly thing.
oh, and it was really also sad when he runs into his mother,
His
who-
actual birth mother, yeah.
yes, who gave him up and has raised the
Percival.
He's Percival. She raised Galahad.
Galahad, right, that's right.
Anyway, so yeah, he's like, mother, and she goes, no, I'm Galahad's mother, and then she
But the
gives
look
him
on her-
this meaningful eye
the look
contact,
on her face, like-
and says, I have to be, and he's like, all right then.
Yeah.
I'm interested. I need to look up who it is that Merlin says that she's going to be in the next story, because I don't know that character. I haven't really read a lot of Arthurian Legend, and I'm starting to really feel it.
Yeah, not to any depth.
I mean, I knew
anyway.
about Percival, but I didn't know that
Yeah, this is the scene we're
that
talking about.
Percival / Parsifal.
And I don't know if the camera's gonna really pick that up, but he says mother and just this kind of shocked look on her face before then she straightens up and goes on with the business at hand and whatnot. But yes, the comic ends with them kind of defeating, well, part of the problem, and then Merlin shows up. So maybe Merlin's the next problem.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see how his date plays into it. I want to say her name is Rose. Is it really
I
Rose?
think her name is Rose. It's such an iconic kind of name that you don't want to say for sure
It
that's
is
what
Rose.
it is.
It
But
is
it
Rose.
is, yeah.
I mean, she holds a key to the whole thing too, without realizing it. She's like, she is the. I can't remember what they called her, but
I know.
she can basically read all kinds of languages, but she can put out decrees, and like the government and law enforcement just follows it. I mean, at one point the cops are swarming because they're like, messing around in an abbey,
Right. There.
and she just basically gives the directions, go blah blah. This
Yeah,
see
she's
this
like, here,
paper,
read this
it's
and
right,
then act on it.
and they do.
We're
They
like,
just
well,
marching orders.
okay then.
Right.
And the decree is like this roll up scroll, so
Right.
it's very, very old school.
Right.
Yeah, I like her. Like she's like a record keeper, but she's
Yeah.
also. I mean, she has a
Keeper of the flame and blah blah
yeah.
blah.
She's literally the keeper of the flame because she's holding a candle during this whole thing,
Right.
and she
That's what
cannot
keeps
let
the
it,
door open.
right. She cannot let it go out.
Anyway, it's good stuff. This is
Yeah,
excellent.
it's still
perfect
funny.
art.
And delightful. This is a little less funny because it's the end, and things are kind of, but it's still funny.
For sure. And next up, we have issue number 3 of Heartbeat.
Which you're going to talk about.
Boom Studios. Well, I'll try. Oh, jeez. So, I mean, to me, it continues to be interesting. I continue. The large reason I'm getting it is just because it's old work from Maria Lovett, who
And I
really
like her too.
I really like her art. Like I said, I keep saying her art is more refined inside than like it is on the cover. She's developed this style more so than what's on the inside. It's about, I don't know, high school age children,
Yeah, they're
maybe
high
college.
school. No, they're high school students.
Okay.
Boarding
There have
school students.
some people have died
Some of them are.
through suicide. Wait. And it's the aftermath of that. There are some characters. Our main character seems pretty obsessed with like blood and tasting blood, and there's a boy at the school, and they get it on in this issue, and there's blood involved, and it gets really strange. The brother of the suicide victim is seeing what's going on. He hates the kid because he feels like the kid is somehow responsible in some fashion or other. There's this really weird scene, though, where it's like she's remembering back before the suicide, and the girl, who's always kind of treated her mean,
Yes.
is like, yeah, smashed a mirror, and then but she also kisses the mirror and says her name, this girl's name, in it.
Yeah, I didn't know
So
if
is
that
she
was now or that was then.
is she fantasizing that that's what's going on, or or was she actually hiding in the bathroom stall and saw her do that? I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I kind of thought that was in the now, and that she was feeling angry or upset or humiliated, or I can't remember what happened to her
Right.
before that. Didn't she get in trouble for something, or something went wrong? Something happened.
Her
to make
dad. She's having a
Right.
conversation with her dad, and they do a good job
and her
of
dad
writing just one.
essentially
Well,
blew
no.
her- felt like blew her off.
Because you're only getting one side of the conversation.
Right.
What was it about? Is it about the fact she hates school? Is it about her sexuality because she is into this girl? Is it what?
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, we don't
No
know.
one knowing.
No idea what that is going to be. So,
And honestly,
three
the
more
scene
issues.
with the dead girl that supposedly killed herself, I just couldn't decide if that was a weird ritually kind of we're doing something together murder suicide thing where the murder victim and the suicide victim were the same. I had a really hard time. I almost feel like I need to go back and read that issue again and take a look at that
the prior
illustration. Yeah.
to know for sure. Yeah.
Yes. Because I'm just not sure what's going on there. But the three of them used to be all friends
Right. Right.
when they were little.
And next up, we have one of my favorite comics. John Constantine Hellblazer, issue number 3.
Still very enjoyable.
Laying down some mighty Woodsworth in here. Cherry picking Woodsworth to
Blake.
not Woodsworth. Why do I always want to do that?
I don't know because I don't like Wordsworth very much and I love Blake, so
So, yeah, I mean, John cleans up the stuff in the park in a Constantine sort of a way. We've established more secondary characters in the cast of characters that I'm assuming we're going to see throughout the Constantine run
The
now.
bouncer.
Well, not just the dancer, Noah.
I know. I was just saying
Yeah.
the bouncer, Noah. Liked
So
how
so
that
we're
ended.
starting, we're building that stuff in there, which is cool, and it's organically we're getting that. So we're not using all the same cast. They fill some of the same roles because this is John from another dimension pulled into this one, and he's going about his business, but at the same time has to kind of reestablish who he is in the grand scheme. So he's going in and picking up the pieces, and I think we're going to see some of that in some future issues of more of him picking up the pieces of the fact he had been gone from this place, or because there's an older version of him potentially here or whatever. And where's that? Oh, one of the things I really loved in this issue is we get to see exactly why it is that John always takes, used to always have Kaz driving him around everywhere. Chaz, because he absolutely hates public transit.
And yeah,
Because he's
and
always
that's
surrounded
all
by the
funny.
crazy people. He's always surrounded by the complete nutters when he's on public transit, whether
I
it's the
think
bus
John
or it's
Constantine is the weirdness magnet because of his
sure.
magic.
100%. So, but I love that. I mean, because you see him traveling back and forth a couple times, and those are always a couple panels of him like completely losing his shit over somebody.
I know you just farted. Don't pretend to ignore me, lady. Yes,
Right.
all of that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
and I can understand that. I mean, Chaz had a cab, so that made
Right.
more sense.
Right. So, and just continue to double down on, in my mind, the kind of cool atmosphere of magical London that's kind of hidden off around the corners and whatnot. The psychopomp gang leader. He's still around. I mean, they kind of deal with that whole thing, but it's still there. There's just lots of really, to me, stuff that just
Yeah,
makes
he's not
the
the
environment
only act in town as far as magic
Right.
users go.
right, and how it's done and whatever.
Right.
So I dig all that. I mean, like I said, there's a bunch of characters in here I think we're going to see again at some point. Maybe not overused, but they'll show up. I'm sure. Kind of a deal. Simon Spurrill and Aaron Campbell and Jolie Bear. They get it. They get it. I mean, everything about the book has the vibe of the old stuff, but I don't feel like I'm retreading what I've already read. It does feel fresh. I mean, I will admit if I go back and read those, those first, 100 issues of Constantine, they're dated.
Yes.
Just the way they write comics now. It's not narrated the same way as what the old comics were narrated from the 80s and stuff.
Right.
But so it's got the right modern sensibility to it, but still captures all the good feels.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I'm just over here nodding because everything that Travis said, I agree with. That's a book I really enjoy.
And then we have Family Tree, issue number 3. Jeff Lemire, Phil Hester book.
Yep. In which we find out that there's no one going back from turning into a tree person. You don't get saved from being a tree person.
Right, and the daughter has this, I don't know, magical or whatever it is, communique with dad, who is full on tree somewhere. I mean,
Yeah.
we know, the readers know, but the family doesn't know. But she can kind of zone out, and when she zones out, she's dad and her are in this other magic tree land.
Yep,
with their own little
they're
rooms
inside
and-
a tree.
Yeah,
He calls it the branch.
yeah,
Anyway, so that's kind of interesting, and it's good for her to be able to see him. And in the tree, they look like they're human selves, not their
Right.
tree selves.
right,
But her mom is having such a hard time.
sure.
And I would too. I mean, what? My kid's gonna be a tree?
Well, you're right. Well, yeah, your daughter is suffering from some horrible ailment and whatnot. Your father-in-law
Yeah,
is
your
your
weirdo
estranged
father-in-law.
your estranged husband and father-in-law suddenly shows up and starts telling you how it's going to be and where you should go, what you should do. They show up at this place. There's this woman's house, and she's acting like she's some sort of doctor, and this is what we're going to do, and that would be all overwhelming as well.
Yeah.
And they're still being hunted by some crazy cult that
They all
wants
have
the trees.
hatchets.
They want the tree people. Supposedly
Yeah.
they're not going to hurt them, but they're all running around with.
But they all have axes. So, axes, trees,
Yeah. Yeah.
they kind of go together in a way that doesn't imply that they're going to,
Right.
wrap them up warmly, put them in a nice pot of soil.
Right. Right. So it'll be curious to see what goes on with that. I'm looking forward
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah, I really am enjoying that.
And then we have issue number 43 of Batgirl, Danger of the Dark.
You talk about it.
Am I supposed to keep ordering this comic?
Yes, I want to give it yeah. And then in 3 issues, if we decide that we really hate it, or 1, depending on how bad it is, then I
Oh, it's
don't
going to take us one more issue
I
like
don't
this
wanna
issue.
let go of her, but ooh.
Right. So same writer, different artist, and we're on to a new storyline. We finally finished all the Year of the Villain, no fighting Oracle stuff. She's just being Batgirl, doing Batgirl things. And I don't know, this to some degree, this comic harkens back to comics from the 70s and early 80s.
I don't know, because I wasn't there for those.
And in that it just throws out this really weird storyline that's just kind of, hey, we want to tell a fantasy romance story, and we're gonna use Batgirl in it. And so we have this guy who writes bad fantasy novels, and he creates this whole world, and somehow he actually can literally create a world and pull people into it or whatever. And Batgirl basically gets stumbled into it.
And whatever, that's all well and fine, but
No,
just
it's bad.
her
It was
voice in it seems weird. And I mean, I know she's like all about trying to say yes to more things and just go with more things and be more spontaneous in her life. But
Right. Well, yeah,
yeah,
she's trying to change who she is. She thinks she needs
I
to
don't know.
change. She needs to change the way she operates and whatnot. And I don't, I mean, that's cool. The writer wants to take the character in another direction. Has been working on that. That's all I'm fine. But this story was not good.
No. So I'm hoping that we get out of the castle. Once we're out of the castle, a little, I don't know.
If I was
Yeah.
buying this off the shelf, to be quite honest, I just wouldn't buy it, and I would see if the disembodied voice noticed that we weren't getting it anymore. But I pre-order a couple months in advance, so I pretty much, depending on how long this story arc is,
You're
I have
stuck getting 3
I
months
have
of it
most
anyway.
of it. Well, 2.
Okay, 2 months of it.
It's the beginning of February, so I haven't ordered February comics yet. When I go to order the comics for February, I may wait until the very end of the month to order, so I get another issue of this to decide whether I want to. But
That
maybe
makes
not. I don't
sense.
know. But it was not enjoyable at all. Next up, we have another Bat book. This is Batman, issue number 87, second book of the now Tinian-driven Batman. This one has Gilliam March on art with Morey doing colors. I like them as an art team a lot, so I always enjoy comics that have them in it. This is fine. It's a fine Batman story.
Yeah.
It's just so, to me, it's just so strange going from what before, which for a long time felt like it was some big epic
Giant
Shakespearean
epic
sort of
arc.
thing,
Yeah.
and slow at times. I won't argue that point, but still, this thing, this doesn't feel like a greater thing. It's a Batman story, which is fine. It's not a Batman story, so I'm gonna keep getting
Right,
them.
exactly.
But it's not like it's anything. And I like the main story. Continue to write the main story better. Than there's always a is it an epilogue? Is that what it is?
Oh
at the end
gosh,
of it?
I don't know if I remember to read the epilogue this time.
Was there one in this one?
No, I don't think there was.
Oh, you're right. There wasn't in this one.
No. So
Why do I
wait a
feel like there
minute.
was?
I don't know.
I felt like there was a change in story. But yeah, no. I mean, yeah. I mean, I enjoyed it. I mean, like I said, some of the voices are a little different because, like I said, we get used to so much time reading Tom King's version of Batman and
Right.
Catwoman and whatnot. There's clearly some bigger puzzle going on in the book as far as these assassins that all showed up, and they're all
Yeah, like,
they're all
you're not the target, but some, yeah.
right.
And that part's going to be interesting. And honestly, I'm with you. It's Batman, and it's not like we didn't read years of Batman that were just, Batman.
Right.
And
Right.
so that's fine.
Sure.
At least they didn't pull a Green Arrow on us and be like, well, no, Catwoman and Batman just had this whole long arc where they ended up together at the end, even though they did not get married. And now they're just like, they didn't just go, well, nope, we're not, we're noping out of that.
Well, in the Green Arrow's case, they weren't actually ever together. It was a doppelganger the entire time. So it wasn't like a large portion of the whole wedding part of that was anything but that.
Yeah, but
There's
still.
technicalities in that whole
Yeah,
story.
but it,
I know what you're saying.
no.
So we're gonna talk a basket full of heads,
Yay!
and the basket's getting fuller.
Yep.
I still just really dig this
It's
comic.
really
It's just
fun.
it's traumatizing. There's horrible stuff in it. There's horror stuff in it. There's really stuff that just like, oh
And
my
this
god, this is
poor girl cannot catch a break.
100%. And that's the part that part of me chuckles about at the same time, because like I keep saying, it kind of hits this kind of mid '80s, horror kind of a thing where she's the sole survivor out of whatever is going on, but at the same time, she just never. Yeah, she doesn't catch a break. She
Yeah,
can't.
she's
she
never
can't
safe.
completely win.
She's never safe. There's each bit.
And some of the people she's run into have done a pretty good job of kind of getting in her head and making her think that maybe she has made
Yes, they
bad,
are trying
that
to
bad
slow
people,
her.
and she's running into a lot of bad people, and the bad people lose in the encounters with her, violent encounters with her. But somehow they still seem to kind of get in her head that maybe she overreacted. Maybe it was,
Well, yeah, but that when head number 2 joined head number 1, he's like, hey, let me tell you how this is going to go down.
Right.
So they're
Right, well, yeah.
conspiring.
Yeah. But no, it's really good.
Yeah.
It's really
And I don't know what the heads think they're going to get out of this, but out of
well, yeah, because they're now.
they're
the one
heads.
body. Well, yeah, one body is washed away in the ocean, the other one is left behind in the street somewhere.
in
Whatnot.
more than one piece.
And yes, and she survives an encounter and then goes to the next place, and it's just continues to be bad. She keeps running into bad people. Beginning to wonder if anybody on this damn island
I'm
is
beginning to think that it's all just one big plot, and she should just have not come.
yeah.
This is not her summer.
No.
I mean, maybe the chief's wife, because she's been taken off the island. So.
Well, so she's not even part of the story then.
No, I know. I'm just trying to think
Yeah.
of people on the island that might not suck.
Anyway, but it's like I said, it continues to be lots of fun.
Yep.
I enjoy it like that.
And it's twisty, and I like twisty
Yep.
sometimes.
And finally, last issue of this week is Wasted Space issue number 13.
Where you kind of think maybe he's had some sort of epiphany, the main character, whatever his name is.
Billy
Billy
Brand has actually had his own personal epiphany, not induced by the voice of God that he has been hearing all this time,
Yes. Yep,
or anybody
but
else's visions or
not so much.
whatever.
Though I do really appreciate what the former fighter bot person, shoot, I can't remember anybody's
The
name.
female?
today. Yeah, I appreciate
not
everything that she
Drax
says.
or whatever his name is, but the other
Yeah. I
the
appreciate
female
her whole,
Wolverine.
her whole story. And also the thing that what's his name is not a sex bot plus
He's a killbot.
Killbot.
He really is a killbot.
100% killbot
Yeah.
who actively decides every day to get up and be a better person. And I really appreciate that. And I feel like he should be having some but no.
Well, he comes to an epiphany. Just not the right, just not the epiphany that most people would hope and whatnot. I just dearly love this book because we get that kind of emotional charged, let's look in ourselves, having a conversation.
Let's look at our brain and then realize
right,
we don't want to.
right. It's a sci-fi book, but it has all this other stuff in it and whatnot, and it's one of the reasons why I like Morrissey. I just really like his stuff.
Yep.
He if he's not truly waxing some philosophical something or other, why Billy's just floating in space trying to get his head wrapped around whatever's going on, then he's basically in some hardcore 12-step program that he's still trying to wrap his head around life, existence, and what does it all mean? Does it mean anything? How much is how much is he responsible for, and
Yeah, and his
whatnot.
former teammates are
Dust.
realizing.
Dust
Yeah,
is the killbot.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, his former teammates are realizing how not a team, much not a team they were, and they
Right.
essentially have discovered or feel as though Billy is like, pretty much a narcissist. He's
Yeah.
out for Billy and doing what Billy wants to
Yeah,
do
he's
and
the
dragging
bad
everybody
lead
else
he's
with
the
him.
bad lead singer in the rock group. He's the
Yes.
poisonous.
Yep.
Yeah. And the back of this thing, one of the things like about Vault Comics is it always actually gives you a books blurb on the back, which always just amuses
Yeah.
me. And this one is Molly and Dust go on a quest of Tolkien proportions, while Billy and Fury's the name of the Wolverine woman,
Right.
try to avoid being roasted by emotional vampires. Good stuff.
Yes.
Still one of my favorite comics. 13 issues is just Sherman's art. Sherman's art is just great in it. He's got his own style of doing stuff, and I just love the heavy, chunky, clunky
It started
inks
out
of
kind
it,
of
the watercolor.
lighthearted, and then it's just gone.
Yes and no.
Well, the relationship between Billy,
Oh, and his friends.
yeah, started out and Dust anyway.
Yeah.
Started out
It was they were like,
lighthearted. Yeah.
yeah, about 5 or 6 issues in, then they have that whole going to that one place and throwing the shell out.
Yeah, exactly.
And right about then, as things start to go,
things are not
that their
what you think.
relationship is not as wholesome as what they might
Yeah,
be. And
I
whatnot.
thought it was going to be like a buddy comic type
Uh-huh.
thing, and this has been so much better than that.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have enjoyed the buddy comic because I liked the two characters the way I thought they were.
Yeah.
Anyway, really enjoyable comic.
Yes, very much. Love it lots. And that is it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for putting up with my hacking and trying to keep my throat clear and whatnot. I'm clearly not quite there.
I want to answer a question.
Sure.
Somebody asked if what kind of comics I liked, etc. I will go on the record as saying that the very first comic book series I ever read before I met Travis was ElfQuest. I had a friend who had it in singles, and he
Those
introduced
Pippins, huh?
yeah, no, it's something like that, but
Pin, P-I,
whatever
it's
their name
P-I-N-I,
is.
right?
P-I-N-I, pennies,
Yeah.
anyway, whatever they are. And then I introduced our eldest child to it, and I'd forgotten that
That's just full of titties?
that there was an elf orgy in it. But
Yeah,
it's
like
all
issue
fine.
1. Yeah.
Anyway, because I
What kind
have
of
it in
comics
trades.
she likes?
But aside from that, that was that and some X-Men were all I had ever read before we met. Other than the Golden Key comics you get at the grocery store, those, and I loved those. Casper the Friendly Ghost and all of those.
You read Archie's, yeah? Archie.
Oh yeah, I was a major Archie collector. The Archie Double
Never read Archie's in my
Digest and the Betty and Veronica's. Yeah, pretty much every time I went through a grocery store, I ended up taking one of those home. Because those were kind of replaced the floppies that I read of Casper and Wendy, and I don't even remember what Nancy, I think, was the girl. She has a comic again. Or Little Lottie. Or,
Is it Nancy the Good Witch? Isn't she the one that has like the purple?
No, but
looks
she
like a
was
Little Red Riding Hood kind of thing. Yeah.
But there was I thought that Wendy's the Good Witch.
Is that what it is?
Hangs out with Casper, and Sabrina was in there, in the Archie comics,
Right,
I
right.
think.
Mhm,
So,
mhm.
yeah, those are the ones that I read as a kid, and probably up until I was about 13, I read Archie comics, and I still enjoy them. Our daughter has the
Jughead.
newer Jugheads, and she really likes those.
Yeah, the Chip
Zards.
Zardowski one's
Yeah.
the most, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
She appreciates a lot about his character. So,
Yep.
anyway, so those are what I read as a kid. And then the first thing I read with Travis was the Long Shot 6-issue miniseries.
Oh yeah. Art
And-
Adams.
Yep.
Art
he
Adams
dug out of his
and
comic
Ann
long
Nessetti.
boxes for me. And that's where I started. And
Downhill
then
from there.
after we got married, I read everything he read. And I still do. Though there are probably books that I would read, I'm not sure what they would be because I'm not out there scouting the comic books. If I go to another con, maybe I would have an idea. Anyway, that's it. I just wanted to answer that question.
There you go. Anyway,
All
till
right.
next time.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.